I'm very often asked about what ideas I had in doing the paintings, and with very few exceptions, I nearly always have some kind of concept that I have in mind in doing the pieces. Usually those concepts deal with ideas about humanity and time and internal struggles of one kind or another. In this particular painting, I wanted to take different art styles, different paintings inside the painting, in some ways to denote different time periods. Most of the pieces in here are done in a particular style. This is a painting like Monet. Some years ago we were at Giverny in France, where Monet's home was, and photographed a lot of the lily ponds and so forth that he painted. So in this particular case, it's not an actual painting of Monet's, but it's painted in the style of Monet's. Then this is an actual painting, a reproduction of an actual painting by Van Gogh. This is a Japanese copy of a Japanese print, but one that I just more or less made up. This is intended to have a Rembrandt-esque kind of style to it, and this is done from a still life by the French painter Sicily, and then this area is intended to have sort of a combination of abstract expressionist and pop art kind of feeling to it. Very often I have two sets of ideas. One set is humanistic in approach, in other words, ideas about life or time or space or human existence, and the other are ideas that are purely visual in nature. And then the background here is intended to have kind of a abstract expressionist feeling also. And I wanted to put all these pieces together in order to describe a whole. And I call the painting "The Art Becomes You." The whole idea, I think, of an inspiration, as people like to call it, is to get the process started. What excites me and what ideas that I have and the concepts that I may have about how to translate the immediacy of personal existence into a two-dimensional form on a canvas may not really matter that much to anyone else. It's the process that gets the process started, the idea that the spark that gets the whole creative process moving. And I think that's what the real value of having ideas that one can be excited about. And I had envisioned doing it pretty much the way it is now, where it has just a sketch basically for the head and then just the eyes painted in. And the first time that I did that, it didn't look right. It looked totally wrong. It just just didn't work. So I painted it out, and I painted another head in it completely. And I was not real happy with it, but I just couldn't seem to resolve it, and I decided to it looked okay, and I was just going to leave it. And the more I looked at it, I just didn't like it, and the rest of the painting was turning out so well that it seemed a shame not to have the whole thing turn out the way I wanted it. So I painted it out again, and I painted another head in it, and I didn't like it. And I painted it out again, and I drew the sketch, just a sketch of the head, which is what I had in mind to start with, and I liked it, but it didn't without any other features, it seemed totally unresolved. And so then I put the eyes back in, just like I had envisioned to begin with. And by the time I had this layer of painting on painting on painting, it got richer and richer and richer until it actually looked like I wanted it to do to begin with. This painting is actually on wood, and it's part of it's painting and part of it's drawing. This part of the car is all drawn in, and this background here is all drawn with colored pencil. This part is completely painted in. This part is intended to be like a little photograph that's superimposed on a disappearing or sort of faded drawing beneath it. And then this is intended to be another variation on this very same landscape that changes from a cartoon-like landscape to like an impressionist sort of landscape to a more abstract landscape, and then finally to this realistic sort of painting. All these different parts making up the whole of the piece. Along with this idea of doing paintings inside of a painting, in this particular piece, I also had this idea of a combination of old master drawings and comics that I wanted to have a sort of whimsical kind of feeling of cascading figures coming down through the back of the painting, of which the main figure sort of blends, or tends to blend into. And then along with that, then these other pieces that are like parts of a room, or parts of a window, or parts of it could be seen as exterior or paintings in and of themselves that relate to the whole of this particular piece. The one thing I really don't like to do is to paint the same kind of thing, literally the same thing over and over and over. Other than being a figurative painter, and all the paintings that I do are humanist in nature, and they all have figures. I'm not remotely interested in doing just landscapes or just abstracts or just still lifes. Other than that, I'd like to see them change in some way or another to express sometimes pretty similar ideas, but in a different visual way. As time goes on, I do new and hopefully different work.